Welcome back to the OBS garage, boys and girls. It's been a long summer. I haven't done many videos. It's been so hot out here and humid in Virginia that I haven't really been motivated to really do anything. It's in the mid-80s right now, and I've been having a problem with the seat in the Bronco, the black Bronco. It's been leaning back on me quite a bit, and I noticed I've been using my forearm to hold myself up, and so I've got a little pain in my forearm. I've been apparently compensating and didn't realize it, and I was on the way home this morning and it dawned on me that I'm leaning way too far back. So let's go take a look at the truck. I'll let you see how it's sitting right now, and then we're going to try to fix it. It's kind of bright, but right now the seat's in the full upright position. If you can see the angle there. It's got a little bit of play in it, and I can pull it up, and it'll stay until I put weight on it. So from doing some reading, there's a bracket in here that isn't properly reinforced. So I'm gonna take this thing apart and we're going to see if we could fix it. So you got two bolts on the front. I believe they're 15 millimeter. Two bolts that go all the way through, and on the back there's going to be two nuts on studs. Disconnect the power, and then the seat will lift right out, and then I'll put it over here on the back of the truck on my little makeshift workbench, the old trusty tailgate, and we'll get started. Alright, got the seat down to bare bones. I got everything off of the base, and wasn't quite what I expected, but the base is actually cracked. Let's have a look. So here's the base, lumbar controls. The back of the seat would mount here and go up. It was fairly easy to get to this point. A couple bolts holding the rail to the base. There is a cable that connects to the back here. You just take the nut off and then pull the cable out. There's an air line for the lumbar that runs through the back side here. Just disconnect that. And then the skin just kind of peels right off. Foam is already attached to it. I took the springs out that were holding this guy in. 6 of them. So what we've got right here is where we're broken. You can see the frame is actually cracked right here, here, and here, and this should be straight across, but from the I guess over the years and the wear and tear and the fracture, of course, it's sagging. So my neighbor across the street has a welder. We are going to hammer this back into place, and then we are going to try to weld this back together. And I will report back here in a few minutes. Alright, wardrobe change, done. Alright, so we got things welded together and straightened out. So we got things welded together and straightened out here. So you can see how much straighter the base is. And the rivets line up where they initially were. So, no, the welding's kind of ugly, but it's not going to be seen. It really doesn't matter. The guy who welded it isn't too confident that it's going to hold based on the type of metal. So, we're going to give it a whirl, see what happens. If not, we are going to look into other alternatives, maybe replacing the actual seat base. So, going to get everything back together, let this cool down for a few minutes, and then we'll see how it holds up. So since I didn't show the seat coming apart, I figured I would show it going back together. So I cut a couple of zip ties off here and here that I'm going to replace. So you see how these little springs just grab on here and then to the base frame, 6 on each, or 3 on each side. That's your spring support. So I'm going to replace a zip tie here and here just to hold up the hoses for the lumbar. And then I will put the cushion back on and then rewrap. Alright, seat is back together, about to put the frame rail back on. I can already tell it is sitting much more erect. I mean, look at that. I'm actually gonna probably have to lean it back a little bit. So mechanisms back in. Need a T45 for these guys. Pop this little cap off. There's 2 Phillips head screws to remove that switch. And then it's pretty self-explanatory. Once you get that far, it's pretty self-explanatory. Here's the air hose that runs to your lumbar. You'll have to disconnect that right here. And I'm not quite sure what this cable does. There's a cable that runs through the back and then bolts right here. Let's see if I can show it to you. You'll need a 13mm bolt or 13mm socket to get that off. I just grabbed it up here. There's a square piece up here. I grabbed that with a pair of pliers to hold it while I screwed that on. It's kind of loose. I might have to Loctite it. I'll keep an eye on it to see if it tries to back out. But it looks like it had some red Loctite on there originally, which didn't hold up. Alright, gonna put everything back together, put it in the truck, and give it a test drive. Alright, got the seat in, and I'm already feeling much more comfortable. Actually, I had to tilt it back a notch. Normally I would have it all the way up, all the way tilted forward, and still felt like I was leaning back. But now I'm actually back one notch. The seat sits upright. It feels pretty sturdy. I'm a big guy, as you can tell. So hopefully this will hold up. Going to take it for a little test drive through the country, and I'll see how things go. See y'all in a bit. Well, I put about 25-30 miles on the truck, and the seat is still nice and secure. So I'm going to call this one fixed. If it breaks again, or if I have any issues with it, I've got a seat pan in the storage unit out of my wife's Bronco on the driver's seat that the back went out on it. So I think the seat pan's good. So, or I think the seat base, I should say, not the seat pan. I think the seat base is okay in that, so I can try swapping that over into this, but I think this is going to be just fine. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave me a comment, like the video, and subscribe. And hopefully I'll have some more coming soon, since the weather starts to cool down a little bit here in Virginia in the next month or two. See you later.